I'm Idiotech, and this is my review of Styx Shards of Darkness for PC. The game retails for $40 US and is brought to you by Cyanide Studios and Focus Home Interactive. So what is Styx Shards of Darkness? Well, it's a sequel to Styx Master of Shadows, which was an okay game. For those of you who've never played a Styx game before, it's a stealth game. And by a stealth game, I mean a traditional stealth game, more akin to Thief than Dishonored. The ability to break out of stealth and engage in combat is really not an option in these games. Now that comes with both positive points and negative points, and I will get into that. But ultimately, it's a bog standard stealth game. You can hide bodies, you can stealth kill people, you can sneak past people, you have side objectives, and depending on how well you perform, you get rewarded with XP, and you spend that XP in a talent tree. The talent tree unlocks various abilities for you to use, it unlocks crafting items, things along those lines. Otherwise, it's a pretty standard stealth game. The difference here though is that key focus on not being able to break out into combat, and the fact that it is very punishing indeed. So what's different between this game and the previous game? Honestly, not that much. It's pretty much identical in almost every single way. We have the addition of crafting this time around, so you pick up materials throughout the world, and you can craft those into the various items you'll use, traps, potions, things along those lines. Other than that, there's not a huge amount of difference. We do have co-op, which is really cool, and it's a nice thing to see added, but I couldn't test that out because I was using a pre-release copy and there are not many people playing it right now, so I really can't comment on the quality of the co-op experience. But otherwise, it's pretty much identical to the previous game with a couple of tweaks and some tuning done here and there to the controls and AI. I still am not very happy with the AI and controls, but it's better than the previous game. So let's start with what's good about it, shall we? First up, the character. Styx as a character is quite humorous. He's a goblin, and as a result, he has some unique abilities. He can vomit a clone of himself, which you could do in the previous game, and then you can control that clone. He can poison people with his spit. He's a very entertaining character, he has some witty lines when you die in the game. It's pretty funny, he's a good character, he's well realized and well voice acted. So Styx is a big draw.
Listen, I may be digitized, but I'm not stupid. What's your excuse?
Next up is visual design. Now the game's not graphically stellar in any way, and some of the texture resolution in this game is quite poor. But the overall visual design is quite well done, and they're creating a unique fantasy universe here. This is an IP that they have created, and I like the visual design overall. Some of the set pieces are pretty impressive, some of the levels can be quite beautiful indeed, taking into account that it doesn't look very good on a graphical level, but aesthetically it's quite impressive. The sound design is okay, it's reasonable. It's not the best sound design you're ever going to hear in your life, but most of the things sound the way they should, and there's nothing particularly jarring here. A good thing about this game, though, is its focus on stealth. For those of you who are hardcore fans of stealth from the old days, you will get a kick out of this game's focus on pure stealth mechanics. And for some, that will be frustrating, and for others, it will be very rewarding. This really depends on the type of player you are. It rewards exploration, and it reminded me a little bit of Origami in the way that that was handled, and I really liked Origami, but that did a lot of new things in terms of mechanics. This game doesn't. But one thing this game does do is it rewards exploration. If you want to have equipment, you have to explore and collect the materials. If you want to gain additional XP to level up your character and obtain new abilities, you have to explore the levels. You can't just go the easiest path from point A to point B. So that's quite good, and I do appreciate that design choice. It has solid level design. Now I'm going to be honest with you, I prefer the level design from the previous game. The way the previous game worked was you worked your way up a tower slowly. And it was quite cool, and you'd work your way from the dungeons all the way to the top of the palace, and it was really, really impressive visually, and you could always look down and get this huge sense of scale that you were traversing a very, very large structure. In this game, you have traditional levels. You move from point A to point B, you go to another location, you go from point A to point B. So it feels a little bit more linear, but overall the level design was quite good. I just think the original idea they had of scaling a tower was pretty cool and unique, and that seems to have been left behind. Alright, so now let's talk about what's bad. The controls and animations. Now, the controls in the original game were abysmal, absolutely abysmal. You would try to jump from one point to another point to a ledge, and you would just fall to your death. And that would be very, very frustrating. Now, they have improved that, but it's not perfect. and the number of times I have tried to jump from one location to another and died is immeasurable. I have died so many times in this game, some because of my own fault, some because of the controls and bad animations, and some because of the AI. In a game like this, in a game that focuses on platforming, your controls have to be impeccable. Now, the way that some games handle this is to sort of handhold you. If you jump from one ledge to another, it will automatically adjust your character mid-flight and make sure they land on a balcony or a ledge, a la Assassin's Creed. Now, there are some downfalls to that. It takes some of the skill away from the experience, but it also ensures that you don't die for bullshit reasons. And the number of times I died jumping from one location to another thinking this was a safe jump and I could easily make this, it's very frustrating, okay? It's very, very frustrating. Now, it's better than it was in the original game, so if you're coming from the original game and you're thinking to yourself, oh, have they fixed the controls? The answer is they've improved them. They are by no means perfect, and the way that the character jumps is very unpredictable and floaty. You jump in the air and you just feel like you're floating, like you're a feather in the air, and you can turn in the air and move your character in the air. It's very unintuitive and it feels very weird. There's no momentum, no sense of weight to your character, and as such, it makes it very difficult to predict exactly where he's going to land. Now, the broken AI. It's not as bad as it was in the first game, but they glitch through each other, they block each other's pathing. Sometimes you'll throw a vase, you can throw distraction items at them as you can in every other stealth game, and they just won't respond to it. There was one instance where I was just running backwards and forwards under a table and the AI was just looping around the table endlessly. The AI is not smart. Now, they will detect you very, very quickly if they have direct line of sight, which I kind of appreciate because, you know, if you're standing out in the open, you should be seen immediately. And if you're hiding but you're a little bit detectable, it will take time and their awareness bar will raise over time. So I don't necessarily have a problem with that. What I have a problem with, though, is the fact that as soon as one AI knows that you're there, pretty much the entirety of the level you're on knows you're there. And the way this game works is, you're supposed to be able to run away. You're supposed to be able to escape combat. Now, there is a parry system and you can press left click at the right time and you can parry the enemy and then kill them. But if one enemy's alerted, 5 to 10 are alerted, and they'll just throw weapons at you. They'll throw throwing knives at you, arrows, they'll run at you and hit you while you're in the middle of an animation you can't cancel and you'll instantly die. It feels very unfair. If you want to make a combat system in a stealth game, you have to actually provide the player with a combat system. If you just want them to focus on stealth, have it be so when they're spotted, they're instantly killed. Instantly killed. No fucking around. Don't try and have me run away from the enemy and then ultimately die anyway. 9 times out of 10, if I try and escape from the enemies in this game, I will just be killed. And that's frustrating because I feel like there's nothing I can do once I'm spotted. And sometimes I'm spotted in ways that I feel are unfair. Because the game doesn't offer any kind of mini-map to give me some sense of what I'm dealing with in my surroundings, it's very challenging to have full situational awareness at all times. And I think I'm about to go for a super sneaky stealth kill, and there's a guy who can just see me, and he instantly triggers to the fact that I killed the guy, and then the entire base is alerted, and then I'm dead. And I have to restart over and over. Now, obviously some of this is a result of me failing to assess the situation correctly. You know, there's a number of little mechanics in the game that I could perfect and become better at, but I was playing on normal difficulty, and this game is hard, and I mean hard. And it's not just because I'm terrible, it's because it's very difficult to get a sense of situational awareness without any access to a map. There are so many enemies within levels, and it's very easy to trigger almost all of them, that you feel overwhelmed a lot of the time. If you're playing on harder difficulties, there's no quick save. So you have to restart from the beginning of a checkpoint, and the checkpoints are not friendly in this game either. So look, the controls will screw you over. They are not precise. The animations are weird. It doesn't feel pristine. It doesn't feel refined in the way that you would expect a game focused around stealth mechanics and platforming to feel. You combine that with some pretty dodgy AI, you combine that with some very frustrating trial and error gameplay, and for some people, me being one of them, this game is a very unenjoyable and frustrating experience. You may not be that kind of person. You may be the kind of person that absolutely relishes that level of challenge. And if that is the case, Styx is very much a game for you. But if you're someone who enjoys the combat systems of Dishonored or Deus Ex, where you have a chance once you're detected you will not enjoy this game. It is brutal, it is punishing, and because of those poor controls and that broken AI in some cases, you will die unfairly, and you will become frustrated, so I would very much recommend that you avoid the title. So really that's my review, and honestly that would be my review of the original game. While they have improved a number of things and they've tweaked and refined and polished things here and there aren't a lot of differences between Styx Shards of Darkness and Styx Master of Shadows. So if you played the original game, it's unlikely you're going to like this one if you didn't like that one. If you found this review helpful or useful in some way, please let me know in the comments below. If you want to help support my channel, you can do so in one of three ways. You can buy this game or any other game on Green Man Gaming using my affiliate link in the description box below. You can also support me directly on Patreon. You'll find a link to that below as well. And if you don't want to do either of those things, the best way you can help this channel is to share my content. Share it with your friends, share it on social media. It really helps the channel grow. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.